Welcome back to the Exposure History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Donna Summer performing at New York's Roseland Ballroom in 1976. Known as the Queen of Disco, her music shaped the sound of the late 70s, blending soul, funk. Goldie Hawn burst onto screens in 1968 on Rowan and Martin's Laugh In. With upbeat charm, fast one-liners, and her trademark giggles, she became a standout. This playful moment with painted slogans captured the free spirit of the show and made her a fan favorite. Roger Moore on the set of Live and Let Die, 1973. He takes over as 007 and launches a 7-film, 12-year run, the longest at the time. The production shoots from Harlem to Jamaica and debuts his lighter, witty take on Bond. A moment from Woodstock, 1969, Janis Joplin, the soul of rock and blues, pours herself a drink between performances. Captioned as Jack Nicholson in the 1960s, he broke through with Easy Rider, 1969, and won 3 Oscars, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Terms of Endearment, As Good as It Gets. He has most Oscar nominations for a male actor. Aretha Franklin with the Blues Brothers in 1980. The Queen of Soul joined John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd in the hit film The Blues Brothers, performing her classic Think. Franklin, a 20-time Grammy winner and the first woman in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Cindy Crawford in the 1990s. One of the period's supermodels, known for the beauty mark above her lip. She starred in the 1992 Pepsi Super Bowl ad and hosted MTV's House of Style. Clint Eastwood leans on his Ferrari in 1978. By then, he had defined Dirty Harry, run his Malpaso company, and directed and starred in The Outlaw Josie Wales, 1976. In 1978, he reached new audiences with the box office hit Every Which Way But Loose. Anthony Benedetto, better known as Tony Bennett, pictured in 1968. By then, he'd already made I Left My Heart in San Francisco a standard and won multiple Grammys. The crooner later earned 20 Grammys across decades. Charles Durning, Shania Twain, and Sean Penn in 1993. Durning was a beloved character actor with 2 Oscar nominations. Twain was a rising Canadian singer who would become the Queen of Country Pop. Penn later won 2 Academy Awards. David Bowie, Brian May, and Roger Taylor with Princess Diana at Wembley for Live Aid, 1985. Bowie had just performed a solo set. May and Taylor of Queen delivered a legendary show with Freddie Mercury. Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski at the Cannes Film Festival in 1968. Tate, known for her role in Valley of the Dolls, was one of Hollywood's rising stars, while Polanski had just directed Rosemary's Baby. Christopher Walken and Grace Jones, 1985. They had just teamed up in the James Bond film A View to a Kill, Walken as Max Zorin, Jones as Mayday. Walken was an Oscar winner, Jones a charting singer, model, and actress. Gilda Radner and Steve Martin share a moment backstage. Radner, an original Saturday Night Live star, created characters like Roseanne Roseannadanna and won an Emmy in 1978. Mariah Carey and Patrick Swayze on Saturday Night Live in 1990. Carey had just broken through with Vision of Love and her 5-octave range. Swayze, star of Ghost and Dirty Dancing, appeared as guest host. Bob Dylan during the Rolling Thunder Revue Tour, captured by photographer Ken Regan. The tour, launched in 1975, mixed music and poetry with a traveling troupe of artists. Jessica Walter in 1966. She soon appeared in Grand Prix and later broke out with Play Misty for Me. She won an Emmy for Amy Prentice and became known as Lucille Bluth in Arrested Development and as Mallory Archer in Archer. Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd performed the Women's Problems sketch on Saturday Night Live, March 10, 1979. Both anchor the show's late 70s cast. Aykroyd would co-write and star in Ghostbusters. Murray's breakout leads to Stripes and Caddyshack, Barbara Hershey and David Carradine in the 1970s. They were partners and had a son. Hershey later won Cannes Best Actress and an Emmy. Carradine starred in TV's Kung Fu and decades later played Bill in Kill Bill. Young Princess Elizabeth in 1944 with her first corgi, Susan, a gift for her 18th birthday. From Susan came many royal corgis. She later became Queen Elizabeth II in 1952, serving 70 years, the United Kingdom's longest reigning monarch. Apollonia Kotero in 1985, singer, actress, and model, best known for starring alongside Prince in Purple Rain. Glynis Johns in 1948, years before playing Winifred Banks, the suffragette mom in Mary Poppins, 1964. She later won a Tony for A Little Night Music and earned an Oscar nomination for The Sundowners. Bernie Sanders with his older brother Larry in the 1940s, Brooklyn. Bernie later served as U.S. Senator from Vermont and ran for president twice. Larry moved to Britain, became an academic, and a Green Party spokesperson and counselor. Lou Reed, Mick Jagger, and David Bowie in 1973. Reed had just released Transformer, produced by Bowie, which defined glam rock's sound. Jagger led the Rolling Stones through their peak years, while Bowie pushed boundaries with his artistry. Sharon Stone, 25, strikes a playful pose during a 1983 photo shoot. Before Basic Instinct, 1992, made her a star. She modeled and acted in small roles, later winning a Golden Globe and earning an Academy Award nomination for Casino. Jason Bateman and Justine Bateman at the 1987 Emmys. Justine was nominated for her role as Mallory Keaton in Family Ties. Jason was then starring in Valerie, later The Hogan Family, and would later win an Emmy for Ozark. Angelica Houston in 1984. The daughter of director John Huston and granddaughter of actor Walter Huston, she moved from modeling into films. A year later, she won an Academy Award for Preezy's Honor. Kim Basinger with her boyfriend, Prince, in 1989. That year, she played Vicky Vale in Tim Burton's Batman, while Prince wrote the movie's chart-topping soundtrack, including Bat Dance. Nancy Allen on the set of Blowout in 1981, directed by Brian De Palma. She was known for her roles in Carrie and RoboCop. Larry Gaines, Canadian heavyweight great, with his family in the 1930s. A leading contender of his era, he won the British Empire heavyweight title and beat top Europeans, yet never got a world title shot due to the color bar. Sissy Spacek stands outside a Texas theater during a promo event. The marquee hails her as the star of Carrie, 1976, which earned her first Oscar nomination. A Texas native, she later won Best Actress for Coal Miner's Daughter, 1980. Young Justin Timberlake and Ryan Gosling in the early 90s. Both were Mouseketeers on the Mickey Mouse Club. Justin later led NSYNC and won Grammys. Ryan became a film star and won a Golden Globe for La La Land. ABBA at London's Waterloo Station in 1974, celebrating their Eurovision hit, Waterloo. The song was their international breakthrough, launching the Swedish group into global fame. Nancy Sinatra in the 1960s, flowers in her hair and bold eyes. The singer behind These Boots Are Made for Walkin', a 1966 number, one hit. She also recorded Something Stupid with her father, Frank Sinatra, which topped charts in the US and UK. Bob Marley and the Wailers, 1976. They tour behind Rastaman Vibration, Marley's first US top 10 album. The band drives the sound, Aston Family Man, Barrett on bass, Carlton Barrett on drums, and Tyrone Downey on keys. William Hanna and Joseph Barbera, the duo behind Tom and Jerry, pictured in 1990. Their Cat and Mouse shorts won 7 Oscars and led to Hanna-Barbera, the studio behind The Flintstones and Scooby-Doo. Jerry Seinfeld on the first day of filming Seinfeld in 1989. The show, which he co-created with Larry David, would later become one of the most successful sitcoms in television history. Justine Bateman, 1990. Known for playing Mallory Keaton on Family Ties, She earned 2 Emmy and 1 Golden Globe nomination. In later years, she wrote and directed Violet and authored books about fame and aging, Yoko Ono and John Lennon, in Cannes, 1971. She pushes conceptual art and experimental film after her book, Grapefruit. He stepped out from the Beatles with the 1971 album, Imagine. Elizabeth Montgomery, 1960. Before Bewitched made her famous as Samantha Stevens in 1964, she was already a Broadway and TV regular. She earned 9 Emmy nominations and 4 Golden Globe nods across her career. Kim Basinger in the 1980s, actress and former model known for her roles in 9½ Weeks and Batman, 1989. Angus Young and Bon Scott charge a 1979 stage. Young rips in his schoolboy outfit. Scott belts with grit months before his 1980 passing. That year, AC/DC released Highway to Hell, their first U.S. Top 20 album, produced by Mutt Lange. Jane Birkin and Serge Gainsbourg in 1969, photographed by Patrick Bertrand. The British actress and the French singer became one of Europe's most talked-about couples after releasing their provocative duet. Backstage in 1979, Eddie Money leans on a road case during a tour stop. The New York singer had just scored radio staples 2 Tickets to Paradise and Baby Hold On, with his debut going double platinum. Jane Fonda and Roger Vadim on the set of Barbarella in 1968. Directed by Vadim, the sci-fi film turned Fonda into a pop culture icon and became one of the most distinctive movies of the late 1960s. Jerry Lee Lewis with his 1956 Ford Thunderbird in Nashville's Printer's Alley. He hit big with Whole Lotta Shakin' Goin' On and Great Balls of Fire and was honored in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 1986 first class. Debbie Harry and Ronnie Spector, photographed by Chris Stein in 1978. Both icons of different eras, their paths crossed during the height of Blondie's rise. Julia Roberts, age 11 in 1978, years before Hollywood. She would later rise with Pretty Woman, 1990, win the 2001 Academy Award for Erin Brockovich, and become one of the 1990s biggest box office stars. Ronnie Spector, photographed by Kevin Dilworth in 1974. As the lead singer of the Ronettes, she helped shape the sound of 1960s pop with hits like Be My Baby, influencing generations of artists that followed. Lifeguards at a public pool in the mid-1960s. During this time, community pools became popular gathering spots across America. Black Sabbath at Whiskey A Go-Go, October 1971. Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward brought heavy riffs to the Sunset Strip. That year, they released Master of Reality, after Paranoid had delivered hits like War Pigs and Iron Man. World Expo 1970 in Osaka, Japan. The event showcased futuristic design, technology, and global culture, attracting over 64 million visitors. Farrah Fawcett in the red swimsuit poster that defined 1976. The Charlie's Angels breakout inspired millions to copy her feathered hair. The image sold over 12 million copies. Michael Caine walking with his mother in the 1960s London. Born Maurice Micklewhite, Caine grew up in South London and went on to become one of Britain's most famous actors. Kim Basinger as photojournalist Vicky Vale in Tim Burton's Batman, 1989. The film became a box office hit and won an Oscar for art direction. Basinger later earned an Academy Award for LA Confidential. 2 Hollywood icons in their prime, Robert Redford and Paul Newman, take a break on the set of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, 1969. Their effortless chemistry turned this Western into one of cinema's most legendary duos. Lindsay Wagner as Jamie Summers in The Bionic Woman, 1976. Introduced on The $6 Million Man, the teacher-turned-agent led her own series and won a 1977 Emmy for lead actress. 3 young women stroll down Hermosa Beach in the summer of 1975, their confidence reflecting the changing spirit of the decade. the beach town was a hub for surf culture and freedom. Jamie Lee Curtis in the 1980s. After Halloween, 1978, she moved between thrillers and comedies. Trading Places earned a BAFTA, and A Fish Called Wanda followed. She is the daughter of actors Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh. Pamela Gidley, Robert Rusler, and Sherilyn Fenn in Thrashin', 1986, a film that saw the rise of California's skateboard culture. Gidley and Fenn later gained wider recognition in Twin Peaks, while Rusler became known for roles in cult 80s classics. Angie Everhart in 1992. The red-haired model was on major magazine covers and campaigns in Europe and the U.S. Within a year, she appeared in the film Last Action Hero, 1993, later Jade, 1995. Helen Mirren poses beside a vintage car in 1975, exuding confidence and charm. Before becoming an Oscar-winning actress, she was already known for bold roles on set. Kim Basinger in the 1990s. A former model turned actress, she won the 1998 Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for L.A. Confidential. Earlier, she played Vicky Vale in Batman and starred in 9½ Weeks and The Natural. Susan Kare, seen here in the 1980s, played a role in early computer design. She created many of Apple's original fonts and icons, including the smiling Mac and the Command key symbol. Barry Gibb and Linda Gray in 1970 and in 2025. Married 55 years. Gibb, co-founder of the Bee Gees, wrote hits like Stayin' Alive and How Deep Is Your Love, and received Kennedy Center honors and a knighthood. Anita Pallenberg and Mick Jagger on the set of Performance, 1970. Pallenberg, a style icon of the time, and Jagger, at the height of his fame, captured the raw, experimental energy of London's counterculture scene. Fran Drescher at a 1996 signing for her memoir, Enter Whining. That same decade, she led TV as Fran Fine in The Nanny, earning Emmy and Golden Globe nominations. Ronnie Wood and Mick Jagger shared the stage in 1976, delivering one of the Rolling Stones' electric performances. That year was Wood's first tour as the band's official guitarist. Kelly LeBrock sweeps across the frame in The Woman in Red, 1985. The role made her a star and led to John Hughes' Weird Science the same year. She started as a fashion model before moving to film. Eugene Levy, John Candy, Judy Landers, and Casey Winkler in Armed and Dangerous, 1986. The comedy teamed Levy and Candy, both SCTV alumni, in a story about two unlikely security guards who stumble into a criminal scheme. Brooke Shields in the late 80s, already famous from Calvin Klein ads and films like The Blue Lagoon. By then, she was studying at Princeton, graduating in 1987, and shifting toward TV work that later led to Suddenly Susan fame. Jamie Gertz as star in The Lost Boys, 1987. Her role in the cult vampire film became one of her most recognized performances of the decade. Kelly LeBrock in 1985's Weird Science, as Lisa, the computer-made dream woman in John Hughes' comedy. A top model turned actress, she broke out with The Woman in Red and delivered the Pantene line, "Don't hate me because I'm beautiful." A young Alicia Silverstone dances with her grandfather, Sidney, at her bat mitzvah in 1989. Just a few years later, she would rise to fame as Cher Horowitz in Clueless, 1995. Cheryl Tiegs in the 1983 Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. Often called America's first supermodel, she landed the cover that year, her third after 1970 and 1975. Her 1978 fishnet photo became one of the magazine's most famous images. Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder on the set of Superman, 1978. Reeve's performance redefined the superhero genre, combining strength and heart. Donna Dixon in an early 1980s portrait. A former Miss Virginia USA, she moved from modeling to acting, co-starring on TV's Bosom Buddies and in Dr. Detroit, where she met Dan Aykroyd, later appearing in Spies Like Us and Wayne's World. Sean Young as Channy in Dune, 1984, the ambitious sci-fi film directed by David Lynch. Already known for her breakout role in Blade Runner, 1982, Young brought grace and strength to the Desert Warrior. Kylie Minogue as Cammy White in 1994's Street Fighter. The Australian pop star stepped from charts to cinema, playing a British Special Forces fighter. She later won a Grammy and sold 80 million records. Patrick Swayze and his wife, Lisa Nemi, at the 61st Academy Awards in 1989. That same year, Swayze was at the height of his fame after Dirty Dancing, 1987, and before Ghost, 1990. The couple's marriage lasting over 3 decades. Martin Sheen with his sons Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen, photographed in the 1980s. Martin, known for Apocalypse Now and The West Wing, was already a Hollywood icon, while Emilio rose to fame with The Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire. Mary Tyler Moore, 1960, just before The Dick Van Dyke Show, made her a TV star as Laura Petrie. She later led The Mary Tyler Moore Show, won 7 Emmys, and earned an Oscar nomination for Ordinary People. Kevin Bacon, River Phoenix, and Martha Plimpton at PETA's Rock Against Fur concert on February 19, 1989. The three were part of a new generation of Hollywood actors using their fame to support animal rights and environmental causes. Jane Fonda and Anthony Perkins on the set of Tall Story in 1960. It was Fonda's film debut, years before her 2 Oscars. Perkins had just stunned audiences as Norman Bates in Psycho that same year. John Lennon and Keith Richards performing together at the Rock and Roll Circus in 1968. The event brought together legends from the Beatles and the Rolling Stones in a rare collaboration. David Bowie with fashion designer Ola Hudson in 1976. In his Thin White Duke era, he released Station to Station. Hudson styled major artists and shaped his look. She is also Slash's mother, later of Guns N' Roses. Jim Morrison photographed by Guy Webster in 1966. Just a year before the Doors released their debut album, Morrison was emerging as one of rock's most loved artists at the time. Carrie Fisher chats with Princess Margaret at the London premiere of The Empire Strikes Back in 1980. Fisher had just returned as Princess Leia in the blockbuster sequel. Margaret, sister of Queen Elizabeth II. Bob Dylan and Joan Baez in the 1960s, 2 voices that shaped the time's protest movement. Their partnership, both musical and personal, gave rise to powerful songs that became anthems for social change. Jessica Biel and Scarlett Johansson in the 1990s. Biel broke out on Seventh Heaven and later earned Emmy and Golden Globe nominations for The Sinner. Johansson rose to Marvel's Black Widow and received 2 Oscar nominations in 2020. Joan Jett and Debbie Harry, photographed by Roberta Bailey. 2 women who played a significant part in rock and punk during their own ways. David Lynch stands with his wife Peggy Reavey and their daughter Jennifer in 1968. Lynch would soon make Eraserhead and later create Twin Peaks. Jennifer grew up to direct films like Boxing Helena and work on Twin Peaks. A classic 1980s look, the Marlboro racing jacket paired with stonewashed jeans. Fashion like this was the decade's mix of branding and rebellion when cigarette sponsorships and motorsport logos became symbols of cool street style. Jennifer Connelly as Jenny Blake in The Rocketeer, 1991. She had broken out in Labyrinth 5 years earlier. A former child model, she grew into an acclaimed actor, later winning an Academy Award for A Beautiful Mind in 2001. Carol Kane in 1982, a comic and dramatic talent. She earned an Oscar nomination for Hester Street and won 2 Emmys on Taxi as Simca. Her distinctive voice later brightened The Princess Bride and Scrooged. Andre Braugher performs in Juilliard's drama division in the 1980s, showing the stage power he trained for. A Stanford grad and Juilliard alumnus, he later won Emmys for Homicide, Life on the Street. Madonna arriving at the Desperately Seeking Susan premiere in 1985. The film was a turning point in her career, combining her rising music fame with Hollywood success. Jack Nicholson leans into Dennis Hopper at the 1970 Oscars, where Nicholson earned his first nomination for Easy Rider. Beside them is Hopper's new wife, Michelle Phillips, of the Mamas and the Papas. Their 1970 marriage lasted just 8 days. Julie Andrews in the 1950s, already a rising star. She debuted on Broadway in The Boyfriend, 1954, and soon led My Fair Lady as Eliza Doolittle, earning Tony nominations. In 1957, her live Cinderella was watched by over 100 million viewers. Jackie Kennedy snaps a mirror photo with a 35mm camera alongside her husband John F. Kennedy in 1954, then a Massachusetts senator, and Ethel Kennedy. 7 years later, he became U.S. President. She became First Lady. A young Michelle Pfeiffer posing with her 1965 Mustang long before her rise to Hollywood fame. Years later, she would become one of cinema's most admired actresses, celebrated for roles in Scarface, Dangerous Liaisons, and Batman Returns. Henry Cyril Paget, the Dancing Marquis of Anglesey, 1900. He turned a chapel at Place Neuve into a theater, toured Europe in jeweled costumes, and spent a fortune on productions before dying in 1905 at age 29. Nancy Sinatra, 1966. That year, These Boots Are Made for Walkin' hit number 1 in the US and UK. Frank Sinatra's daughter became a pop icon, later acting in The Wild Angels and Elvis's Speedway. Charles Schulz, creator of Peanuts, with a beagle often cited as an early model for Snoopy in the 1950s. Peanuts would run from 1950 to 2000 across thousands of papers. A 17-year-old Julie Andrews in 1952, years before enchanting audiences as Mary Poppins. Already performing on stage by then, her incredible 4-octave voice had earned her early fame in Britain. Julie Andrews, 1964, winks between takes. That year, she debuted as Mary Poppins and soon won the Best Actress Oscar. A stage-trained soprano, she followed with The Sound of Music in 1965. Sandra Bullock in 1993, early in her rise. That year, she appeared in Demolition Man and The Vanishing, soon followed by her breakout in Speed, 1994. She would go on to win an Oscar for The Blind Side, 2009. Timothy Olyphant, around 1985, years before Hollywood knew him. He would become the lawman of Deadwood and Justified, earning Emmy nods. Fun fact, he was a competitive college swimmer before training as an actor in New York. Elton John at his first photo shoot in 1968, just before his debut single, I've Been Loving You, and his early partnership with lyricist Bernie Taupin. He later earned multiple Grammys and sold over 300 million records worldwide. Astoria in the 50s. A young Christopher Walken stretches dough in his father's bakery. Years later, he'd become an Oscar-winning actor for The Deer Hunter, known for offbeat roles and that memorable SNL cowbell sketch. Allen Ginsberg and Jack Kerouac in the 1950s. Close friends from the Beat movement, they helped shape post-war American literature. Ginsberg's poem Howl shook censorship in 1956. Kerouac's On the Road defined restless youth in 1957. Robin Williams, age 7 in 1958, years before the world knew him. He would star in Mork and Mindy, voice the genie in Aladdin, and win an Academy Award for Good Will Hunting. Boston University, 1979, a student actor, left in a campus stage production. He would later become a beloved 90s sitcom star and a Tony-winning Broadway performer. Early craft on display. Patrick Stewart reads a Star Trek The Next Generation script in 1990, suited as Locatus of Borg. The two-part Best of Both Worlds set a famous cliffhanger and ratings surge. Stewart later earned Emmy nods and Olivier Awards. Jennifer Connelly and David Bowie in Jim Henson's Labyrinth, 1986. Connelly, a teenager then, plays Sarah. Bowie is Jareth and also recorded the film's songs, including Magic Dance. Connelly later won an Oscar for A Beautiful Mind. Harpo Marx with aviator Amelia Earhart in 1932. Marx was the silent Marx brother, famous for his harp and honking horn. That same year, Earhart became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. Henry Fonda shares a quiet meal with his daughter, Jane, in the 1960s. He was already a screen legend of 12 Angry Men and The Grapes of Wrath. Jane would later win 2 Oscars for Klute and Coming Home. Sharon Stone in 1983, before Basic Instinct made her a star. A former Ford model from Pennsylvania, she was moving into film after a small role in Stardust Memories. She later won a Golden Globe and an Oscar nomination for Casino, 1995. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on anything.